It is 12:59. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. College baseball, Florida advanced to the National Championship Series, a 3-2 win over TCU on Wednesday. They will await the winner between Wake Forest and LSU, who will play tonight at 6 p.m. LSU beat the Demon Deacons 5-2 on Wednesday to stay alive. Speaking of LSU, a report from Nicole Auerbach and Brody Miller of The Athletic. LSU men's basketball and football will be on a 3-year probation due to NCAA violations. And former LSU basketball coach Will Wade receives a 2-year show cause for violations during his time with the Tigers. Wade, currently the head coach at McNeese State. Tonight, the NBA draft begins at 7 p.m. in New York. 2 local prospects that could get drafted in the first round. Ben Shepherd out of Belmont and former Cane Ridge star, and from Alabama, Brandon Miller. Blockbuster trade in the NBA saw the Memphis Grizzlies acquiring former Celtics guard Marcus Smart on Wednesday as Tyus Jones heads to the Washington Wizards. Kristaps Porzingis dealt to the Boston Celtics. The Grizzlies also sending the Celtics their first-round pick for tonight. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ooh, we're going to have some fun today.
Oh,
Mike Keith's going to be on with us so we can ask him about this. But right now, let's ask this guy about it because he was on the field. So, Blaine Bishop, Mickey Ryan, Lucas Panzica, if you're new to the show, thank you. I see this come across Twitter last night. I'm like, oh. So
what was it that you saw? Because I did not see this.
NFL Network Thursday schedule. And it said, remember the Titans. It's all Titans programming this afternoon. So, leading off with the very first game, regular season game in Nissan Stadium, Titans and Bengals just started at noon, so it's halftime now. They just scored before the end of the half. You guys stopped them on the 2-point conversion.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think you went on to win, 36-35.
We were winning at halftime.
You were winning
That's
at halftime.
That's what I just said. Guess what? If you would have asked me anything about this game, I would have said, number one, it was hot as fish grease out there. I thought I was going to die, and I felt like I was one of the most in-shape dudes on the team for sure. And I would have said we were losing at halftime and that we came back to win it at the end. That's what I would have said. And that was all wrong. Well, it was hot, but we were winning at halftime. So that was kind of a shocker. So you're talking about 1999.
September
so 24 years ago,
12th, 1999.
Wow.
36-35.
That's why I rely on you with all the stats and the memories of the game.
Against the bungling Bengals, coached by Bruce Coslett.
Yeah, Bruce Coslett. They had Jeff Blake, who threw the greatest deep ball ever. And they had a dynamic duo at the receiver position with Darnay Scott, Carl Pickens, and Tony McGee at the tight end position, who I played against in high schools from Terre Haute, Indiana, went to Michigan, and as well as Corey Dillon, who I think is worthy probably of Hall of Fame consideration for sure. Mm-hmm. As running back, yeah. They're offense. Notice how I'm just talking about the offense because that's what I was going against, and their offense was right there with the best of them, just with those 3 players with Jeff Blake throwing the football. Man, he had a big-time arm.
So this was
actually, I think he's a quarterback guru in Austin, Texas right now.
26-21 at the half. So the score winds up being 36-35.
Did we score at the end to win?
Automatic Al Del Greco, 33-yard field goal with 8 seconds to go was the winning margin.
That's probably why I thought we were losing the entire game.
Because you guys were up 26-7 in this rascal at one point in the second quarter after Dr. Dyson scored a TD from McNair.
Oh, my. Dang. Yeah, I was just peeking in here. I was like, what are the Titans doing on? And I was like, what game is this? And they were like, oh, this is from the 99. I said, oh, I may be out there. Oh, I just saw Joey Kent make a tackle on special teams. Dang. Wow. That was good stuff there by Joey. Got to find your way in.
There's Chris Sanders. I mean, here's Terry everybody Killens. That everybody knows, all out here.
Was the linebacker, Chamberlain? Yeah. Who's coaching now at Oregon? No, not Oregon.
Is it Frank Chamberlain?
Yeah, Frank, yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Was it face mask?
Mike Carey officiating. Yeah, they call it face mask.
We definitely have to ask Mike Keith about this game. And guess what? He would know everything about this game. Oh, I just made a tackle. Who is that running back? Oh, Kajana Carter. Kajana Carter's right there. Or was the top 5 pick, wasn't he? From Penn State? Ooh. Oh.
Almost a pick there by one of the Titans DB. So
Dane and Sydney.
So there's a lot of times where we'll talk and you'll say, I remember that game, it was real cold, or I remember that game, I was tired, or it was hot, or I remember, we tackled this guy on the 1-yard line. As you watch this, do certain plays come back? Like, I remember, do plays come back to you?
No, only negative plays.
Okay.
Yeah, I only remember negative plays. And in this game, I couldn't even tell you what happened besides that we won the first game and opening day. Look at that tackle right there I just made. Slid up under. New nice little technique. I call that the slither technique. You go up under the offensive lineman who's never going to go that low. And then you come back up and then they go, who is this big guy? And I'm not that big, right? Yeah. So the game was so high. That's all I remember about this game. It was the hottest game I felt like in my entire career. And it probably was just because it was an opening day, all the anxiety, the fans were rocking. It was finally our team, their team. We got our new uniform. I mean, all of the combined, just all of that. Man, I felt like I didn't have too much gas left in this game. So I was excited to get away a win. And that's kind of how the season started. Just think, I don't even know if the Bengals had a winning record. And they deservedly so could have won this game easily as well.
And we've talked about they were 4-12, and they were loaded.
Yeah, they had a really
loaded.
Yeah, they had offense. Their defense was just okay, but their offense was woof. Man. And Jeff Blake, he ended up playing. He went to the Saints. He went to multiple teams after that. He ended up playing like 15 years. I couldn't believe it. He became a backup. I was like, dang. I was sitting on my couch watching games and saw him out there. I couldn't believe it.
That dude played from age 22 to age 35. He played until 2005. Jeff Blake.
It's like 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. The backdrop right there. That's the picture I have in my house right there from the first game in Tennessee Titans history there. The uniforms. Mm-hmm. Show the back view of the defense. Naturally the defense is never part of the picture. Especially when you got, Air and EG. So, that was pretty cool.
A lot of big shoulder pads.
A lot of people. If anybody was at that game, give us a call. Tell us what you remember about the Cincinnati Bengals opening day, Tennessee Titans. Oh, nice enough defense there by a guy named B. Bizzle for Shizzle on Darnay Scott.
Dude, you've been everywhere on this thing.
Yeah. That's
you going sideline to sideline. Here's you in the backfield blitzing.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. You see me out. You see my running to the ball. Look at me. Oh my, this is going to be a rough one.
Is this getting your Are you? Does this kind of get you?
Well, I don't say it gets me, but it gets me excited just to watch because I haven't gone back and watched any of the games by any means at all. And I don't even talk about me playing at all, even at home. Like my son was like in middle school and people were saying your dad was a really good player. And he was just like, what? Like he didn't, he was, I retired. He was, only 4 years old. So he had, he knew, but he didn't know what my career was like or anything like that. So somebody showed him highlights. And so that's, where they all kind of got started. But I've never gone back and watched games. So it's always a joy to watch.
Yeah.
And say, oh, okay. I don't remember plays in this game. Nah. This was one of those games. If I would say this is one of the games I loved playing the Bengals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were a really good, talented team, and I love playing talented offensive teams because I've been on defense and see if I could match up with the potent power and athletes that they had at their skill position. So they were a pretty good team, so they were always going to bring it.
Their fullback Milne just caught a 2-point conversion. You remember he had cancer. He beat cancer. This guy.
I don't even remember that guy.
Brian Milne.
Yeah, if he came up to me and said, "Hey, Blaine, I remember when we played. I was like, you play for the Bengals?" Like, I don't remember the fullback. Guess what? I do remember when Lorenzo Neal was the fullback there. Yeah. So, no, I couldn't even, I couldn't even tell you anything about this game, about my performance. And I could have had a real good performance. I wouldn't even, nah.
All right, we'll look up your
Corey
stats
Dillon,
in a
Jeff
minute.
Blake out of East Carolina. Yeah, he was a great player.
William Jones says in the F&M Bank chat, I was at that game for my 9th birthday.
Oh, pretty cool.
Tyler says, I have a huge framed picture of the stadium from that game since it was the first.
Yeah, I have that same thing.
I have
You
that same
too?
picture.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a long picture,
Yeah,
like
it's a long
panoramic.
one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's from the back view, or do you have the back view from the defense?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, you and Mark Robb back
yeah,
there.
right there.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
no, I got that picture.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Man, this is
Back going down memory lane. I wish I could remember some plays though.
so if you were at the game,
That
you
means
wanna-
I did not get beat for a touchdown because I would.
Or you would
that.
remember that.
Yeah, because I remember bad plays.
We got phone calls on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Sean in Nashville. Sean, were you there for the first regular season game?
I was, yeah. I was like,
Sweet.
I was about 25. I bought season tickets the year before. I got to the first game I went to was the San Diego game, played at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
we
I
got
was
beat then.
Yep. So I wanted to see Ryan Leaf, but
Yeah.
I've had season tickets ever since. But I think, didn't Del Greco make a field goal to win that game 36-35, the Cincinnati game?
He did. 8 seconds to go. Automatic Al booted it right through, man.
Yeah.
All I remember, I
was
thought we
there.
were hanging on. They were driving down at the end. I thought that's what would have been my memory. Did we stop them on 4th down
Yep.
and they didn't score to win? Is that what happened? But no, that didn't sound like what happened there.
Do you remember how
Yeah.
hot it was,
Yep.
Sean? Because that's Blaine's biggest
yeah,
memory was the
it
heat.
was hot.
Yeah. I learned real quick. My seats are in the south end zone, and I learned really quick that I was going to get sunburned on my right side on those games.
Yeah. And sometimes
appreciate
the
the phone
first
call, Sean.
game every season, even coming out of training camp when it's really hot, you just never, with the anxiety of playing, in a game, that adrenaline rush and everything else involved. That first game sometimes is always the tougher, feels more hotter than any other game.
Yep.
And so, because you're playing at a different intensity level. But that game there stands out to me as the hottest, if not one of the hottest in my career. Yeah.
Let's get Brad in Nashville. You were there? You got a memory? 615-737-1045. Brad, memories from that day? What you got?
Yeah, so I would have been 19 years old, and a buddy of mine got tickets, and we were sitting in the lower level. I don't remember it being, it wasn't as hot as that Indianapolis game a couple years ago, but we had shorts on. I do remember that.
Okay.
But going into that game, I just remember kind of like what Blaine was saying, the new uniforms, the crowd was really into it. We got out, started out really good, and it just felt like one of those games where we're just going to absolutely run through them. And then when they started coming back and it started to get close, and then we were down in the fourth quarter, I was just like, no, we can't start this season off with a loss. Like it just felt in my head like we had to win. And a funny thing at the end, right before, Del Greco came out to kick the field goal, and look, it was a close field goal, but at the same time, nothing was ever for sure. I was just so nervous. And my buddy, who was sitting next to me, he got hit in the neck with like a lemon. I'm talking just a howitzer. And he was so mad, and I wanted to look around and be angry, but I was like, hey, they're about to kick the game-winning field goal here, so you deal with that. I'm going to watch straight ahead. Field goal, and it was awesome. And, just kicked it off the whole season in style. So it was a relief.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that,
is
before
great.
we go to break, is that this really, looking back over that season and making it to the Super Bowl, these are the games that we lost, typically leading up to the last 2 seasons. And I really believe being New Jersey's new home field, fans, crowd, noise, we felt like we were home. And that's where we won. And that then kind of started the momentum of we don't lose in our house. I mean, Fisher kind of pushed that, and it became that. And, man, he saw the vision, and then we believed it. And it finally happened. We started winning those close games. We knew we were good. Mm-hmm. And that's when you get a momentum as an athlete that you feel like you're invincible and you're unstoppable. Regardless of what happens in the game, you never get rattled. Yeah, so that it started right here at the Bengals game, this game right here. Yep.
This was it just the Coliseum at this point? Or
Adelphia.
Was it called Adelphia?
Yeah, it was called Adelphia.
Okay, Adelphia, what was known as Adelphia Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
So third quarter, 8:50 to go, 29-26 Cincinnati at this point.
So we'll go to break and we'll be winning when we come back.
Well, we'll keep you posted on this one. We'll tell you how it goes. William says, man, I miss those AFC Central days. You got to admit.
That's right.
That was power football. That was big shoulder pad football.
Ooh, I don't miss that.
All right, don't miss this. We'll talk some more Titans when we come back. We'll do some more memory lane stuff as we have Remember the Titans Day on NFL Network. We'll tell you about all the cool stuff we're seeing on here. You got anything you remember from those days? Maybe you were at the game, 615-737-1045. You can hit us up, and let's get into some Titans offensive stuff. A thread on Twitter that caught my attention yesterday by one of the analytics guys. I would say come on back, but just be prepared to be angry when you hear this stuff. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We're watching the season opener from 1999 on NFL Network. Titans and Bengals. Bengals are up right now by 3 points as time runs out in the third quarter.
Uh-oh. We're losing, too, by 3 points.
Oh, they put Yancey Thigpen out to return this punt. Sorry, yeah. Spencer George, have a seat.
Yeah, we had 2 Georges, Spencer and Eddie.
Boy, how many people would know that on a trivia question? How many Georges were there on the 99 Titans?
Yeah, a lot of people would have missed that one. I know Lucas would have missed it.
Oh, come on, Lucas. Yeah. He's so young, he wouldn't know.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, 99. He was born, though, in 99. I don't know if our other assistant there, I don't know if he was born. You were not born, were you?
2001.
Read 2001 birth. File him as 2001.
2001 birth, right?
2001.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. 99. 2 more years. Yep.
Lonzo says in the F&M Bank chat, I still call it Adelphia Coliseum. All right, we'll keep you up to date on how the 99 Titans are doing.
We were still in the AFC Central then?
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals and the Steelers, and really even the Ravens. I mean, man, that was I hated those teams at the time. I really did. I despised them. All those divisional games, you gotta you just gotta hate them.
Well, and it was the Jags got added to your division when they started.
Well, they were an expansion team.
Yeah, so it was Bengals and Browns and Steelers and Ravens and Jags and Oilers, later Titans. Mm-hmm. So you had 6 teams in your division.
Yeah. Yep. But all I know is we won.
I did win that day. It is funny going back and just seeing all these guys. Like there was Anthony Dorsett standing there. And you see
Frank Wycheck
just accepted a penalty.
Ryan B-Hop, Big Pen. I mean, man, Pickens on the other team.
Yeah.
Those some dudes, man. Yeah, they had some good players.
Scott
Sanderson.
Air McNair there.
Bruce, look at the legend. Oh, there go Fishbone. A young Fishbone right there, man. His hair didn't move at that time. And Eddie's still just, running over people.
So in those days, the 2 guys that knew they were getting theirs, Eddie and Frank, every game. Frank was going to get his targets, and Eddie was going to get his carries.
It's kind of we haven't got away from that motto, really.
Have not, except for there's no more Frank.
Yeah.
So no receiver gets his target.
Then it became there's no more Delaney Walker. It just kind of kept moving the needle.
Watching
out there. Ooh. Oh, watch out.
Watching our old pre and post game buddy, Dr. Dyson. Boy, he's
making some catches out there too.
Yeah.
Man.
Big old Dyson catching the ball and diving everywhere, making plays.
Is this his rookie year? No, this is his
second year.
No. He got 97, so this is going on his 3rd year.
Oh, that's right. He was the first year of the Tennessee Oilers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or was he second? Was he 98? And Freak was 99. Because Dice told me once, I said, what was it like to wear the baby blue? And he said, I'm going to be honest with you.
Freak was 99. This was his first year.
Yeah, Dice was only 1 year as an Oiler because he said, I got bad news for you. I never even wore the blue jersey. We only wore white all year, the way it worked out.
Yeah.
I was sad for him.
So he was 98 then. Okay.
I'll tell you what else made me sad when I read it on Twitter last night. It had nothing to do with Dyson. He makes me happy, but this made me sad. Warren Sharp, who's Sharp Football, he's one of these dudes who tweets out all these charts where it's like,
I always see him,
look at the logos and track where your team is, and this is their 3rd down efficiency rate when the other team, has 11 men in the box. He does all this analytical stuff. So I have a whole list of analytical Warren Sharp things that I've just been saving for like the whole off season for a rainy day. Like, we'll get into all this one day. So I'm still holding them. So last night I start rabbit-holing down this thread from Warren Sharp. He said, and he's another one of these guys, Blaine, he does a book. Like you can buy his book.
No, I know exactly who you're talking
about. He's super analytical. Like even puts out the book. Book's like $30. So he tweeted this last night. I spend a lot of time objectively researching every team each offseason, looking for the good and bad as open-minded as possible. But one thing I'll never be talked off of is my belief that Todd Downing was a double agent.
What?
Trying to make life difficult for the Titans offense. He tweeted that.
All right.
And this is an analytical guy. He's analytics. If you follow this guy, he's a great follow. So here you go. Then he just starts.
Wait. We got to try. I know I don't remember any plays from '99, but translate this to me, man. From the '99 Bengals game, first game of the year. So what is he actually? He's a double agent. What does that mean? He's saying he was working for the Titans and against them?
Yes, that's exactly what he's saying.
What?
Because he was doing such a bad job. Like, not intentionally. He's not suggesting that like the Texans hired him to sabotage things. But that he was doing his job so poorly that he was working for them while working against them. Yes, you just nailed it. That's what he was so poor at his job that he was being paid by them and actively sabotaging any success that they had. So then he goes on. Like, this went on forever.
You getting me you getting me lit, man. I don't need the TV to watch this game to get lit. What?
So then
I got something for this.
Then he starts responding to himself.
Responding to himself?
Yes. Before people could respond, then he has a thread, and then people started responding. So he said, on first downs, Tennessee had the second highest run rate. Well, we all knew that. I was surprised it wasn't first. Despite defenses stacking the box at the fourth highest rate. Unsurprisingly, the runs ranked number 4 worst in efficiency. But nothing stopped them from running into loaded boxes. Not even the fact that first down passes ranked number 3 in efficiency. So he made one of those little charts with all the logos.
Basically, it was telling you that they should be throwing the ball on first down a little bit more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which is what we used to say on pregame.
All the time, every week.
Let's change it up a little bit. Don't make a habit of it, but let's just catch him off guard a little bit. You're a little too predictable.
So then he went on. He continued to respond to himself. He said, their first down runs did almost nothing but force them into third downs. They had the highest rate of being forced into third down after a first down run in the NFL. But they repeated it over and over and over. And so he went on to say this, and this goes back to something that you and I talked about and something that maybe people didn't know that you brought up last year. Someone responded to him and said, whoever Todd from PA, Vrabel has to own a huge part of this. First, he hired it, and then he let it happen, or more likely encouraged it. This is a guy on Twitter. I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, when you're the CEO, which Vrabel is, of the football team, you got to take some ownership in that, and that was 2 years in. And he oversees. If anybody watches him in practice, he's definitely got his foot into all phases of the game. So I think Vrabel is part of that. But I think we got to look at it this way also. The injuries. I'm not going to make any excuses for Downing. I thought he was an okay coach. And when you prepare for a game, going into a game, I thought he was great, actually. And then it's the halftime adjustments that he would make or in-game adjustments. And that's what puts the elite play callers up there. And then that's why you get a head coaching opportunity.
Right.
It's because when you're standing on the sideline or if you're up in the booth, you kind of manage through the game for unpredictable, things that are going to happen. And then you make gradual, sudden adjustments to your game plan. And I think that's where, and I used to say this, not to this extent, is to me what was going on. Because it was so often we come out to halftime, they only score like 3 points. I'm like, what? Like, how do you not score any points? They could have had a great first half to it. It could have been good, bad, or second half, it never was the same. So to me, that was next level, and he was just an okay coordinator and not elite. Now, by the way, we're not on the headsets. I don't know if Vrabel's saying keep running the ball on first down. And then, it also, the way the team was set up is built on slowing the game down because you got the king back there. Right. And the more you feed him, the more he eats, the stronger he gets. So some of that plays into that too, but it got to a point where it was just really, like you were running into a brick wall. So all they had to do was just, start a series off every now and then and play action pass and throw a safe pass. You didn't have to, throw downfield. If you wanted to, you could, but that's all I could say. He wasn't a bad coordinator. I thought he was just okay and didn't make adjustments without, playing the game within the game as a coach. And so, and Vrabel approved of it because he hired him and he went on for 2 years with him and never did anything. So obviously he eventually did, but I felt like Vrabel wanted to do that as well. I think when you have your offense built around your running back like that, I think that was their plan until you stop it. And tough, hard nose, and we're going to run down your throat. So, yeah.
So the guy brings up Vrabel has to own a huge part of this. First he hired it, then he let it happen more likely encouraged it. So Warren Sharp responded and said, I completely agree. I hypothesize about who knew what and how much they knew in the Tennessee chapter of my book. He's trying to sell his book there. He said, bottom line, it was impossible to ignore whether via film study or analytics, and it's now on Vrabel to ensure the right course is charted with Tim Kelly. There's no excuses. So there was one more. One more tweet from Sharp
I think
Football.
it's going to open it up, and I think Vrabel trusts him a little bit more. I don't know this for a fact. I just think about him hiring him. He worked with him before. There's a little more trust, and to me, that gives him a little more rope as far as what he will let him do as a play caller. Now, people must not forget, the head coach sometimes can restrict a play caller. That's how when you see him on a coordinator on one team, then goes to another team, you're like, dang, he looks totally different. What are they doing? Like, yeah, well, we don't know how much, the head coach had his hand in the pot, in the cookie jar, and that's his right. He's the head coach.
This is the final piece of the thread from Sharp Football.
Oh, I wrote by mine.
He said, I expound on this more in the book, but there was nothing, in all caps, the Titans needed to establish to get a stacked box on first down. 95% stacked box percentage if the Titans had less than 3 wide receivers on the field. 90% stacked box percentage in the first quarter, meaning everybody knew what was coming. Listen to this, though. You know how people just lose their minds when it's third down and King's not out there?
When it's third and short.
Yeah.
3rd and 3 or less.
84% stacked box if Derrick Henry is simply standing on the field. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm going to say about the stack box. Just because you're in a stack box does not mean you can't still run the football.
Yeah.
Watch this. I was on a team. I was a part of a team. We stacked the box every play to stop somebody from running. And they hence then ran for 200 yards. So if it's hit correctly,
right,
and the guy that's left unblocked is the right guy, whether it's a corner or somebody on the backside, it can still actually work. I was on it. Go look it up Monday night. Corey Dillon, 200-yard rushing against us. I was on the field. And you talking about somebody frustrated. I was like, how are they running the football?
Was that somebody the night your finger got fingered?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because that might have been like 98 or so. Yeah, we couldn't stop them. And it was times like, I'm not even getting blocked, but I'm not making the play. Somebody's getting blocked into me, somebody overran the play in the wrong gap. So those things can happen, all because people are trying so hard to make the play because they're getting frustrated. And by the way, that was a Monday Night Football game.
I watched it.
Yeah. So when you hear the numbers and the analytics, that's why I say numbers can only take you so far. They are a part of the game, but you can't say 100% that this is what we should be doing. I just gave you an example where we put 9 in the box and this guy rushed for 200 yards against us. And we weren't missing tackles. It was just everybody, missing their gaps, somebody messing up or getting pushed or out of their gap or, they were executing. But I guess if you do it over and over and over again, at some point you got to say, okay, let's try something else. And I have to give credit to Vrabel and Downey. Sometimes it was frustrating, and they were so patient, and then the game opened up, and they were running the ball like downhill. So to their credit also, sometimes it worked. Even though it was frustrating to watch, sometimes it worked. And because they thought, okay, we're going to start passing the ball because we're stopping them when there's so much time left. And then, boom, Henry hit. Whoa. Next thing you know, we're back in the game. Because everything was close to the vest. Real good defense. It wasn't like, we were getting beat by a lot. So there's a part of me on the strategy. It worked. But should we changed up a little bit more, even if it was short passing game, just to say that we were not running on first down. They were scouting them on, themselves. So that's a tough one there though, man. That was tough to watch. And you got to say all those injuries, game planning, predictability, and stack boxes. It's all about counters. What you got? You think they weren't stacking the box versus A.D. George?
Oh, sure.
You think they weren't stacking the box versus C.J. 2K?
Boy.
You think they're not driving? Yeah, Henry. I mean, they were going on all the time. Now, what about those offenses, though?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it looked like they were unpredictable at times. Because here's what it is. To me, this is what would frustrate me the most. Every game is its own game. You take these notes, Vrabel. You were there with Bill Belichick. He'd have a 100-yard rusher or more in one game. The next game, he hardly even runs the ball because every game was its own game.
Mm-hmm.
We treated every game as though they were the same game. Yep. And say, stop us. And so until you grow your mind on the offensive side of the ball and say, this is how we attack this team with our personnel, this is how we're going to beat them. Instead of saying, no, we're going to run the ball every single game and we're going to dare them to stop us. To me, that's called stubborn. To me, every game has its own rules and every team has their own weaknesses. So you need to attack those weaknesses and make them make adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's their secondary, then maybe you need to be throwing the ball more. If it's, their D-line, they're thin, maybe you should be running the ball. But to me, every game should have had its own set of rules, and to me, they didn't. It was every time, this is the same team we're playing, and we're going to do the same thing. And as a former player, I know that's not going to work, not over the long haul. Yeah, because you're supposed to be making changes throughout a game. That's what's so different than college and pro. Yeah, that's what Downey would be a great offensive coordinator or head coach because they never change. Mm-hmm. They're not making adjustments. They say, oh, we got better athletes. You just made a bad play on that play. You'll get it next time. They come on with their game plan and they don't make no changes at all. Dude, you watch the pros. Dudes are adjusting every single series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was the part that was frustrating me. And that's when I start saying, well, then this is more Vrabel to me than actual Downey. Because he was allowing it. He was encouraging it. Yeah, like the writer said. I completely agree with that.
Somebody brought up the Titans' second half scoring.
Yeah, that's what they didn't score. Remember, you gave me a stat that I was like, they averaged 7 points in the second half or something crazy, and 2-3 points?
When we come back, I will relive that nightmare with you.
Why are you trying to get me frustrated? I was happy when I came here, watching the Titans game, looking at some memories, and then now you just trying to get me hot.
What were the second half numbers for the Titans? We will share those.
They go with Benji.
Next, Blaine and Mickey. Mickey 104.5 The Zone. We're watching the 99 season opener versus the Bengals today, and it's coming down to the wire here.
Oh, my.
Oh, great special teams play
Right there.
by Perry Phoenix.
Yeah.
To tie the
Default.
Bengals receiver down at the 10-yard line. The Titans just scored. Les Steckel, back-to-back screens. One was incomplete.
To Eddie.
Then McNair hit Eddie out on a little, almost like a
Flare screen.
flare screen. And Eddie just like juked a guy, stiff-armed a guy, and then just was like a runaway bull to get into the end zone.
Ooh, look at the young Takahashi on the sideline.
So 4:19 to go. The Titans trail the Bengals by 2.
Ooh, who's in that quarterback for them?
Is that David Klingler? This is the third Bengals quarterback in the game.
Right, yeah, they had Jeff Blake, and then they went Achilles Smith, and then I don't know who number 4 is. Ooh, Corey Dillon's breaking a lot of tackles. I'm just hoping my number doesn't flash over there.
There's a flag down now. You probably got held on that.
Oh, there I'm running right there. Ooh, look at I had some Jets back there. Those Jets have the engine has broken.
So since this game is not happening, that's on the Bengals.
Yeah, 35-33 Bengals with 4 minutes left, and they have the ball. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's Greggy. I want to see who this quarterback is. Covington. I've never heard of that guy before in my life.
The Bengals quarterback is Covington? Scott Covington. Rhett Bryan just tweeted us. He said it's Scott Covington. That doesn't even help me. And you know me, I love obscure players.
Who is that?
Scott Covington.
Oh, man. That is horrible. I've never heard of this guy that I played against. He got out of the game. It wasn't like for a play. He's out there.
Well, in the last series,
Scott Covington.
Cincinnati Bengals 7th-round draft pick in 99. So he's a rookie.
Oh, that was his rookie year. Why is he in for Achilles Smith, who was their first-round pick?
Because they were starting to realize already, like, that was a mistake.
Oh, man.
He went to Miami, says Red. I'm looking at his page. Scott Covington.
Oh, man.
He played in 3 games in 99, and then in 2002, he played in 1 game for the Rams. He started 1 game. He threw 5 passes and won the game.
Not against us. It was somebody.
Not against this one.
Yeah, that was.
Rhett says he has a highlight package from this game. We are paging Rhett Bryan to get us.
Covington? Or he has a highlight for the Titans?
Rhett Bryan is live tweeting us as we live tell this game. He's texting us.
Well, tweet it out. Just attach Blaine and Mickey to it. Yeah, tweet it out.
Or send that rascal to Lucas Panzika.
Man, that is
we'll play
absolutely horrible. I don't know Scott Covington. Rhett Bryan knows him, and I didn't know who he was.
2.5 minutes left. The Bengals are punting to the Tennessee Titans.
I was not scouting the third-string quarterback.
So what you had to have here was
3 quarterbacks.
a stand by the defense, and you got it. So Yancey Thigpen is the Titans punt returner.
Boom.
Oh, he's to the 49-yard line of the Bengals. This is going to help.
Man.
All right, so the Titans have at least scored 7 in the second half because we've been watching it. I teased these stats while we're watching this game. Here's what the Titans scored in the second half of each game last year.
This is you still just bagging on Downey.
7, 0, 0, 0,
Oh, my.
7, 6,
I'm in a good mood now.
10, 3, 10, 13. That was like the best run right there. Then they finished 6, 0, 8, 7, 7, 7. And then son of a gun, only 3 against the Jags. If you beat them,
last game,
you go to the postseason and break your, then 6-game losing streak. They averaged 5.5 points per second half. 5.5 points in the second half.
Dang it.
This game is a great example, though. The offense scored early. Bengals made this roaring comeback.
Yeah, because we were up by, they said 20-something?
You guys were up 26 to like 7 or something at one point in this game.
Dang.
So Rhett's going to get us this. We can open the hour number 2 with Rhett's Bengals package. So it's 35-33, 2-minute warning.
Bengals.
Mac is walking over to the sidelines to visit with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, but they're moving. They're on the other side of the 50.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks to the Yancey Thigpen punt return.
Yeah. I think D. Mace was hurt this game.
You haven't seen D-Mace. Big game for Dr. Dyson, though. He's been everywhere in this thing.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Dyson
him and Eddie George
get his knee clipped.
Pretty much in this game plan. Even Eddie in the passing game.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching the offense in this game. I was sitting on the sideline trying to get a breather. I always look for third down plays, though. People don't realize if you're playing a game, you go sit on the side. You're not like watching the game. You're like, okay, is it third down yet? I go get my breather. Then you're praying that they get a first down. Just please give me 3 more plays. Please give me 3 more plays. I need a little more rest.
I'm sure, though, at that point, you had to be – it's their last drive, and you –
last drive I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching. The game's on the line.
But we were watching this game, and you said something happened to Jeff Blake. He didn't finish. Achilles Smith came in. Well, they showed Jeff Blake. He got cramped so bad he locked up. Like he just
couldn't even move.
So they had to take him off like a statue from the 50. So then Achilles Smith came in for one series, and now here's Scott Covington.
Yeah.
Miami's own.
I forgot all the crap. I don't even remember all the crap I was taking. I never cramped up. They give us everything. All kind of stuff from, I don't know, oranges.
You ever drank pickle juice?
Pickle juice. I don't know, man. I did everything. I was not trying to come out. I never had the cramping issue. I would just be gasped.
We got a little bit of time. John in Kingston Springs. John, you at that game against the Bengals that year in '99?
Well, I'm a founding member, but
awesome.
I did not get to go.
Oh,
at the time, my company was doing all the food at Nashville Shores, and of course the weekends were just unbelievable. I mean, you're talking 10,000 people at the park, and we're doing all that, and there's no way I could go. So I had 2 employees that had been with me since I first started the company. And a catering company. And so they were only 15 when they started. 2 best kids I ever had, Jonathan and Chris, and they came into work that Sunday morning. I told them, I said, you're going to work in the kitchen, so you don't have to wear a uniform and all that. And I looked at them and I said, y'all going to the game, and I handed them the tickets. The whole kitchen is crying. My wife's crying. Jonathan is this huge guy, played football at Pearl, and he's crying his eyes out. I said, y'all go have some fun. I gave him money. I said, go have some fun, man. And they did. They still talk about it. They still thank me for that. But I missed the first game.
Awesome.
Well, that's awesome. You've probably seen your share, though, since then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I talk to you every time, Mickey, when you go by. After I do the pig and pie.
I was going to say, John, trust me, I know who the pig and pie guy is for sure.
Okay, okay.
John, you got a voice like me, man. Everybody, and Blaine, when we start talking, everybody knows who we are. So
that's right. Thank you, guys.
buddy.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
John, the pig and pie guy, you need some cooking. That guy will make it happen for you. I usually talk to him. We do the pregame show. I walk around the stadium. I see John. We say hey to each other. Then I hustle in and take pictures. Well, post-COVID, I take them from the 3rd row of the bleachers up there. Some grainy cell phone pictures. All right, Rhett Bryan is going to join the discussion next. He is frantically searching for his Bengals highlight package so we can hear Mike Keith call all the stuff, and then Mike Keith is going to join us at 2:20.
Oh, okay. Rhett's coming on when we come back.
I think he has.
Rhett knows
everything
play.
there is to know.
Oh, man. I'm trying to figure out who knows the most information between him and Mike Keith.
So here we go. More of This Is Your Life, Blaine Bishop, coming up next.
No, out there, Grekus.
It is 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. College baseball, Florida advanced to the National Championship Series, a 3-2 win over TCU on Wednesday. They await the winner between Wake Forest and LSU, who will play tonight at 6 p.m. LSU beat the Demon Deacons 5-2 on Wednesday to stay alive in the College World Series. Tonight, the NBA draft begins at 7 p.m. in New York. 2 local prospects that could get taken in the first round, Ben Shepard out of Belmont and former Cane Ridge and Alabama star Brandon Miller. Blockbuster trade in the NBA saw the Memphis Grizzlies acquiring former Celtics guard Marcus Smart on Wednesday. The Grizzlies also send the Celtics their first-round pick for tonight. Little college football and basketball news in the SEC. LSU's men's basketball and football program will be on probation for 3 years due to NCAA violations, according to The Athletic. Former LSU men's basketball coach Will Wade, the current head coach at McNeese State, receives a 2-year show cause. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We're having some fun today.
Oh, man.
If anything happens with D-Hop, we'll let you know. We'll do today and D-Hop segment later. We're just going to, we need like.
No, I don't think there's no rush.
We need like a big voice. Today in D-Hop. Just for every, like each week.
He didn't sign.
Yes, well, that could be it.
Later.
Most days.
It'll be later.
Or like
and then people's going to say, Rhett said he's going to sign later. No. He's going to sign somewhere later.
Well, Dove Kleinman would tweet, Rhett Bryant of Titans Radio reports.
It's a throwback Thursday. I love that, how you guys were talking about the first game in Titans history. And it's so appropriate. Lucas texted me and said, you got anything from that game? I'm like, so here's the thing. This goes back far enough, Blaine. We recorded the games on cassettes back then. So not all of it has been transferred digitally.
Oh, my.
But I went and found the second half of this game, which is the most important part.
On a cassette or what had been transferred?
No, what had been transferred, thank goodness. So here's the deal. You were asking about why is Scott Covington in there? Why is Keely Smith in and out?
Why is he in?
Right.
I didn't even know who he was.
Sure. He was a 7th-round pick out of University of Miami. I remember him playing in college.
Wow.
So if you will remember this, obviously it was the first game at Adelphia Coliseum, first game in Titans history, September 12th, 99. And it's hot. It's 84 at kickoff, and I think it finished at 93, and it was very humid.
Yeah.
Jeff Blake kept having cramps throughout the ball game. And so in and out. So Lucas asked me, do you have something from that game? I do. Here's a montage I just put together.
Ooh. McNair, long count, snaps it, just does get the play off. They run the same play again. George 15, George 10, George 5, George end zone! Touchdown, Titans! He's an animal. Screen pass, Eddie George on the right side. This throw is perfect. And it's a 17-yard touchdown to pull Tennessee within 3, the point pending. The situation is this, 12 seconds remain. Bengals 35, Titans 33. Titans led this game 26-7 with 5 minutes to go in the second period. The Bengals took the lead early in the third quarter and completed a run of 28 consecutive points with a Pelfrey field goal. 7:47 to play. The Titans came right back down the field and scored a touchdown on a swing pass from McNair to George. A great coverage of the kickoff by the Titans. Back the Bengals up. They gained nothing. Titans got it back at the 49. They've moved it 34 yards for this. Del Greco from 33. Snap, set, kick. He made it! It just gets inside the left upright. It was close. It looked like he hooked it. But he got it through. And the Tennessee Titans have taken a 36-35 lead over the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, my.
You can say that again. I tell you what, when he hit that football, Mike, I saw it come out and I saw it hooking. I said, oh, gosh, don't do this again. Don't send these people home like this. But he snuck it in the left upright for 3 points.
Amazing. It was the exact same kick as the one against Jacksonville last year down there where he kicked the game winner. It started off hooking badly, and then it just stopped in midair, found a line, and got through. Well, they put a second back on the clock. Titans 36, Bengals 35 with 2 seconds to go. This game has taken over 3.5 hours to play.
And that's without a replay.
That's right.
Had a lot of injury timeouts today, though,
Yep.
Mike.
And a lot of strange things have happened in this game. They go with the Hail Mary formation on the right. Smith rolling, firing deep downfield. It's towards the right corner of the end zone. It's batted, incomplete. Higgins had a chance, but he didn't get it. The Titans get the win. The first ever in Adelphia Coliseum. That's 277 for the franchise. Won as the Titans.
And I love it.
And I love it.
That voice you heard next to Mike Keith is the great Pat Ryan, the color analyst for the Vol Network now. But he was the color analyst for Titans Radio in its first iteration in 1999. And just thinking about all the ebbs and flows of that game, I mean, you had 7 tackles in that game, by the way.
Oh, did I? Oh.
You absolutely did. And it's just one of those barn burner things. I mean, you heard Mike set it up. You guys had a lead 26-7 with 5 minutes to go in the first half, and then they reeled off 28 points. And so that Eddie George touchdown in the next to last Titans possession put them up, and then they were able to or narrowed the lead, and they were able to get the ball back, and, you know, Aldo Greco kicks it through the uprights, and they live to tell about it. But it was hot and muggy that day. And, you know, that's the one thing you've always talked about. Jeff Blake could spin it, man.
Dang,
and he had Carl Pickens, and he had Darnay Scott and all those wideouts for the Bengals.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Jackson.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to throw something in the pile here.
Oh, man.
Because it is a Throwback Thursday. This is good. And that's win number 1 and Titans game number 1 in the upcoming 25th season of Titans football. How about that?
That is insane.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even do the math. 23 and started in 99. So there you go.
Bingo, bango, bongo. There it is.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good old day. You know what really stands out? Listen to that call. And it wasn't actually the call. It was the crowd. How it was just
electric.
Man, and we were getting close to that. And then all of a sudden, all the injuries last year, I felt like we were back on that wave from the year before. Man, when that place gets to rocking, man, I think it's one of the loudest, if not the loudest stadiums, outdoor stadiums.
You're right. And for those who've moved to town in the last 10, 15 years, all the Gen 1 Titans fans will tell you that first couple of years at the stadium was electric. And you're right. I've been to Seattle multiple times, and the 12th fan and all that is but man, it would rival that back then.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had to start making signals.
Sure, you
guys
did.
on the field on defense to each other because we couldn't even hear each other standing almost literally 3 yards apart. It was crazy.
To your point,
we
had the windows open during the broadcast. We do every time. And on the headphone box, the volume would not go loud enough in my headphones for many games. Mike and I eventually worked out hand signals when I was spotting for him because you could not hear yourself. We
weren't prepared for that in the first game, for giving signals. So we had to start adapting in game right then and there.
Yeah.
We go, these are the signals.
See, that's the adjustments that no one talks about.
Yeah, these are little nuances of the game because it was so loud. We couldn't even hear each other. Like, hey, man, I didn't get the call. What? No, it's your job to get the call. So we're going to have to start getting some signals.
I would say this, going to France, I had a buddy, and she had some work tickets in the lowest level, the lowest row of the 300 level. They were real good tickets. Remember when McNair got flipped up and down against the Steelers?
Oh, yeah.
That happened right
on
the
the
field.
helicopter there.
Yes, right down in
phenomenal.
front of us. That's where our seats were.
So you were in the southwest corner.
Yes. When I left
southeast
there,
corner.
I was still playing music like very regular. That was at the height of me trying to be a pro musician. my ears would ring after Titans games like they rang after gigs
Sure.
because of how unbelievably loud it was in that stadium.
Ray Charles' Hit the Road Jack is still a fantastic song. And it was great before that, but it still brings back so many good memories because
No doubt.
fans that came in from the other team,
Yeah.
bye-bye, see you
I love
later.
that. I
Long
love
walk
that.
home, the walk of shame, Titans edition.
Sitting in the 300 level singing that with a bunch of strangers.
Sure.
And in 99, we sang it every week.
God,
Because
did
there
you
were no
ever?
home losses that year.
Oh, my gosh.
You guys undefeated in the new home, in the new uniforms, in the new stadium. This town, I remember calling my parents. My dad was still alive then, and he said, I know you love football. What's it like? I said, Dad, I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
I said, it feels like a college atmosphere. Everybody has a Titans shirt on or a sticker or a flag on their vehicle. It's hard to describe to people. And Blaine, you had your nose to grindstone and you're trying to play and you were busy in radio. But I can tell you at that point, I didn't work in broadcasting. I'd been a TV anchor, but I'd quit and I'd moved here. So I'm just observing it. I'm just fanning it up like everybody else. It was insane seeing every car had a Titan sticker or flag on it.
Sure.
In the whole town.
And Blaine, you were involved in the middle of it. You were in busy, doing your thing, earning a paycheck and winning ball games. But you had to know this was different. This was special.
Oh, yeah.
Because
no
you'd
doubt.
just gone through 3 years of hell in 96, 97, and 98, basically being vagabonds all over the road.
Yep.
I mean,
that's
you
why
played,
I said I thought that first game
you
was
played
pivotal.
in 4 different stadiums in 4 consecutive seasons, Blaine.
Well, as a player, we don't think about that. All we can do is control what we can control.
Sure.
But naturally, it helped when we felt like we finally had a home. And then to squeak out a tight win, which is the reason why we were the middle-of-the-road team, we were always on the other end of that. And I really believe that was the start of something special right then and there with the crowd noise, us believing that we can win the close games and come away with that final drive, whether it was on offense, defense, or special team, to win those games. And, our identity was that we were going to run the football, be physical, and be consistent throughout an entire football game and see if we could break your will. And that's what it kind of reminds me of looking back on that Bengals game was the start of really the history of the Titans and their, I guess, legacy of moving forward, not only that season, just periodically now, even looking 20 years later, the identity is still somewhat the same.
Yes, it is. The DNA is deeply ingrained. And you and the aforementioned Eddie George, Steve McNair, you guys were the foundational pieces. And then when you add number 90 in, freak,
Man.
I swear I think that's the tipping point. Just
Oh,
those
it
kinds
was.
of things,
Oh, it
because
was.
he was magical.
Yeah,
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, he was.
Nobody's-
He was definitely something. And actually, that Bengals, that was his first time. I didn't know what to expect. People can act like they knew. No, nobody.
He was a
knew
tweener
that-
prospect
yeah,
coming out because
nobody
he
knew
played
that.
safety and linebacker and keeping weight on and all those things. That's right.
Yeah, nobody knew. We were in practice in preseason games. I call it the double down, where the tight end and the tackle are double teaming. He was 4 yards, 5 yards back. And dude, I mean, I'm talking about somebody got MF by Greg Williams on multiple occasions in those meeting rooms. It was not a pretty sight. I was like, dang, man, this dude may fold. And then you saw him gradually getting better each and every preseason game. That's where you can see when a rookie player that has a lot of talent, you start seeing the jumps. And you go, oh, man, he went from 5 yards deep to, now he's at 2. Oh, now he's holding his own at the line. So he's building confidence, understanding how to play those, double downs and all that extra weight with 2 human beings weighing 300-something pounds, coming at him. And then finally, the breakthrough was actually in the Bengals game. Like, that's when you said, uh-oh.
This guy may be real.
This may be something different. And then once that happened, and then everything else became easy for everybody else on the defense. It really was remarkable. So that was a great find to put him there. And then it was just like it was easy to him. It was insane. I mean, watching the film, you're just like, dang, he just ran by him. Like, they couldn't block him. And you kept seeing it over and over.
And there's a highlight reel, I don't know how long, of plays like that all day long by him.
And then
thanks for
Collins
letting me share, guys.
Yeah,
This was fun.
that was fun. Yeah, it is unexpected, but Mickey saw that the NFL Network was doing a rehash of the Titans. Now we're playing the Jaguars in, I think, 2001.
2001.
Yeah, I see Bam Morris out there, so I must have been injured. Well, the starting safeties were Bam Morris and Perry Phoenix, so Mark Robb must have been out as well.
Eric Bam Morris.
Yeah,
Michigan State Spartan,
Yeah,
right?
he's Big Ten Player of the Year, wasn't he? Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I always talk about, they trying to get rid of me. He was a third-round pick, third or fourth round.
And he was something like that. And he was hanging out with all the Flintstones guys up there with Mateen Cleaves and all those guys when they were deep in NCAA tournament stuff.
Yeah, he thought. Watch this. He thought he was the next Blaine Bishop. That
It didn't work out too well, did it?
There would never be one.
There's only 1, 2, 3 in a two-tone blue.
Because you got a lot in the air, brains, ability. There's a lot to it. You may have more talent, but at the end of the day, when we get on there in the field, it wasn't gonna be. Nah. And he was a heck of a player. I mean, there was thoughts in my mind like, dang, this dude was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Ooh.
All
It
right.
may be like trouble. I'm gonna bring the best out of me. No, I don't think so.
Mike Keith, you heard him in the package that Rhett put together for us, which was just beautiful. Everybody saying they got goosebumps in the F&M bank chat and everything else. Again, today unplanned. We just knew that there were some Titans games that were going to be on NFL Network, and we're having some fun, a little flashback fun. Who better to join the party next than the one and only voice of the Titans, Mike Keith? That's next.
Touchdown, Titan!
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday. We've been having a lot of fun. They're showing Titans games on the NFL Network. So Rhett Bryan went and harvested some audio of the game that they showed first on NFL Network today. That was the 99 season opener. That was the all-time season opener for then Adelphia Coliseum as the Titans got number 1. And we heard this guy call the game, and we already had this guy scheduled. It's just irony that Mike Keith joins us now. It was meant to be, Mike. So we have had the best time. We were even nervous at the end, but we knew Al Del Greco was going to make the kick. But, man, what a fantastic game, and you got to call all the action.
Pretty cool. I mean, and you think about if that game had gone differently, then how different that season could have been. Because we were excited that it was Cincinnati and Cleveland to open, because we thought, man, if we could be 2-0 going to Jacksonville, then even if we lose that game, it's okay. And it was going to Jacksonville and then going to San Francisco. So you're saying, if we're 2-2 after that, we're still in the mix, and should have been 4-0. In retrospect, because Steve Young we go to 3-0 in the pouring down rain in Jacksonville in one of my very favorite games ever to this day, down 17-7 going into the fourth quarter, take the lead, go up 20-17, they're driving, and Samari Rolle makes an incredible play, intercepts a pass, and then on the last play of the game, they snap the ball to Craig Hentrick in the end zone. Every Titan who's on the field grabs a Jaguar. Everyone grabs a Jaguar. Craig Hentrick dances around the end zone, finally steps out of the end zone. Game over. 20-19's the final. Tom Coughlin and all of the Jacksonville staff going crazy because, there were 10 holding flags on the play. Guys, officials throwing their hat, throwing their raincoat, whatever. Because, everybody held. They tackled the guy. Mm-hmm. Well, and so what's Coughlin saying? But a game can't end on a defensive penalty. Well, guess what, Tom? We never gave up the ball. We were still on offense. Good night, everybody.
Fishbone with his rule book. He got him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Mike Keith, our guest here, the voice of the Tennessee Titans on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Mike, it's always great to have you on Voice of the Titans, especially the old days, and completely agree. But now we must talk about the new days. So
let's talk about the new days.
Yeah, naturally, with the draft and free agency and all the players there having camp and OTAs and everything else, mini camp. What was it like watching Simmons versus Skoronski every day? I haven't had a chance to ask anybody this question, but man, I would have loved to, I was at a couple of practices, but just to see him go at it, I'm sure with no pads on, it's kind of hard to say, but still you got to see, a little bit how they stack up against one another, and you feel that force of Big Jeff. Looked like Skoronski was ready.
Well, he never played anybody like that in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's a good conference.
Yeah, no doubt.
It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just you don't see very many men like that anywhere. But I thought the kid held up pretty well. Jeff worked him over a little bit, and I didn't see every snap, but Jeff worked him over a little bit from what I did see at times. But I also thought he improved, and he learned, and he battled, and he thought to himself, okay, you play a guy with this type of strength, maybe you got to do it a little differently. And again, I didn't ask Peter about it. I heard Jeff talking about it, and I think Jeff has respect for Peter already. And I think that says something about the way he battled him, because it wasn't like defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. It was like, okay, that wasn't good. Now we're going to do a little better. Now we're going to figure this out. Peter's really smart, and he's a really smart player, which is why he was running with the ones, because he got it. Mm-hmm. And we knew what kind of player he was, and we saw him back. He's not scared either. Mm-hmm. And he's not small, and he's not scared, and he's not backing down. But there are some tricks that maybe Jeff didn't have when he got here that he has now. And that's the thing about Jeff, is Jeff's gotten so much better, because it's not not that raw grizzly bear power anymore. It's a game. He's become a technician, a tactician, however you want to put it. And the kid, the kid had some lumps, and that's okay. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, you want to see how he grows from this point forward and see how much better he gets. And, you need to be pushed. Well, with Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, I guess I wanted to pick the breakout player that you think will have a breakout season, whether it's a second-year free agent guy, draft pick, or, a current player that's already on the team. So, kind of maybe go offense and defense, guys you think may have a breakout, or even the kicker who maybe be a breakout player.
Yeah, we don't know who the kicker is.
Right, that's right.
So
We don't know.
I can't name the kicker. I think it's going to be Kyle Phillips.
Oh.
I think the easy thing to say is Traylon Burks, but I think that's just a given. I think Traylon Burks is going to be a really just outstanding number one receiver in this league, and I think he's going to be a star. But I think Phillips, having an offseason, having a chance to understand the demands of this, certainly if the Titans land DeAndre Hopkins, it will take some snaps away from Phillips, because when they're in two wide receivers, it's going to be, Burks and Hopkins on the field. And I don't think that's a bad thing for Phillips. I think being able to play the slot in three wide receiver sets, being able to concentrate when he gets the opportunity on punt return, I think he has a chance to be the best punt returner we've had. I think he's got that kind of natural ability. I think it was probably hard to do early on because, he's playing all those snaps in the Giants game and he's hurt. He was hurt a minute into the season. He got hurt on the first punt return.
Yeah.
And if you watch it again, you can see him land on that shoulder. But nobody covers him. He's always open, just like he was in the last camp. And I think he's going to get it. Again, I'm most excited if the Titans do land Hopkins for what he can do for Phillips. I think he'd do a lot for Burks and for everybody else, but I think suddenly Phillips is going to be utilized more in the way that fits him best and that will make him most effective. On defense, I think it's Amani Hooker. Really good offseason. Really good offseason. He's a good player. Just a good player.
He's sharp and he's smart too, man. Smart football player. So I'm interested to see how well he does this upcoming season. Breakout type players. That was the question here. We're on with Mike Keith, voice of the Titans. I guess one more for me. You just mentioned, D-Hop. What would a player like, DeAndre Hopkins add to the Tennessee Titans wide receiver room? Or if you think he adds anything?
He adds a ton. He can still play. He's veteran. He knows how to get open. He's going to be that guy for Tannehill that is going to be open in certain situations. I mean, he's a great 2nd and 8 option to get a first down. He's a great 3rd and 4 option. He's always a great first down option. He understands how to get open against zone. He understands how to get open against man. I mean, you talk about a guy with 853 career catches. I mean, you're 5-time Pro Bowler. I mean, you've got to be. I know receiver numbers have gone up, but I mean, he's knocking on the door of Hall of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, another good year or two, and he's really knocking on the door. And I just think I just think he could still play, and excited about what he can do for what they're going to do differently on offense. Because of his size, he's a matchup problem. I mean, he's a really, really quality player that's had a great career to this point, and I understand why people are so excited by the possibility. But the other thing too is where you are in his career, it's about money, and he's waiting for what did you say in real estate, Mickey? You're waiting for final offer, best offer. Right?
Yeah.
How did you say that? But that's what's happening with him. It's because there's no reason to commit at this moment because teams are not in session per se. He's still working out. He's conditioning's fine. But I mean, he could pick somebody this afternoon, or he could pick somebody on July 25th. And if you're him, you're waiting to see if a third team makes a phone call and says, "Hey, what's your best offer? We'll match it by $1 million, or we'll go over it by $1 million." And that's the way the business part of this works. So it's a little tricky right now because you're waiting. I think he makes a decision when he feels like he's got the very best and final offer that he's going to get from the two teams he visited, and potentially another team or two who may be just out there say, the number's not so bad. Let's see if we can't go in and get him.
Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith.
Mike, you mentioned D-Hop and his potential Hall of Fame candidacy. I didn't even have this written down as a question, but I'll ask you. You've seen a lot of football and you called a lot of football. Titans fans like to speculate for Derrick Henry and what work might be left for him to get into the Hall of Fame. What do you feel like is left for him to accomplish it? Is it a yardage number? Is it a second 2,000-yard season? What do you think is left for him to do to really have that most legit case?
I think one more great year. If he has one more great year in 2023, and I think he needs 16-something, if I'm not mistaken, to go over 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
Yeah, 1685. No, just kidding.
Okay, 1685.
I
Thank
have
you.
no idea.
Well, I mean, it's something like that.
Yeah.
It really is something like that. Then I mean, he's in a position at this point. We look at running backs over 5 or 6 year periods. That's what those players are graded on 5 or 6 year periods. From the middle of 2018 to now, and if you put 2023 in there, then as another great year, suddenly you're talking about something very, very special, something that makes him one of the era's best players. For a running back, it's not 10 or 12 years, It's not necessarily 9 Pro Bowls or things of that sort. It's about a period of time. And, that stretch of time is what he's trying to continue right now and on into the future. So Derrick, at this point, needs 1665 to reach 16, which is certainly within reach. He probably wins a rushing title. He would have another one of those. And you're talking about a guy at this point who's 10,000 yards. He's at 78 rushing touchdowns. He could have a year where if he adds double digits, he's over 90 rushing touchdowns. 37 100-yard games, 6 of them 200-yard games. That ties the NFL record with O.J. Simpson and Adrian Peterson. So, I mean, if he has a 200-yard game, he takes that number. He would be well over 40 100-yard games in his career. I think he's All of Fame.
Wow.
Because you look at that, I mean, like last year, 1538 rushing, 398 receiving. That's nearly 2,000 yards. That's pretty remarkable.
Mm-hmm. What's his average yards per carry? Because I know that's a lot of people use that against Eddie George on his average yards per carry. And
with Eddie, that's a low number for Eddie. That's what hurts Eddie. I don't agree with it, but I mean his average yards per carry in his career is 1,750 carries for 83.35. I think that's 4.6.
4.8 actually. On Pro Football Reference, so almost 5 yards a clip, man.
Wow.
And that's fine. Has not lost many fumbles in his career, which is another thing that stands out. But here's the strange thing. He's 29-8 when he rushes for 100 yards in the regular season and playoffs. That number got worse as the season went on last year, which was really strange because he kept running the ball well as the year went on. He had 121 yards against Jacksonville on December 11th. That's a loss. 104 at Los Angeles against the Chargers, a loss. 126 against Houston, that was a loss. And then 130 at Jacksonville in the last game of the season, which was a loss. So he needs the passing game to take pressure off him. That's what that shows. That's not because he did something wrong. That's because the teams didn't fear the Titans' passing game because the passing game just wasn't very good, especially down the stretch, to be able to put him, he wasn't making those long runs. He had a 48-yard touchdown run against Houston on Christmas Eve. But like in the last game against Jacksonville, it took him 30 carries to get to 109. And so what that tells you is, he's not having the home run threat that he normally is, because teams are like, well, he can get his, but he's not going to beat us, right? So the Titans have got to get the other things going on. When they, in 19 and 20, when they had that play action going and they could hit those deep shots because everybody had to respect him, they did, which meant they didn't have to drive the ball every possession. But the other thing it meant is that teams had to have some respect with those safeties back a little bit, because they were afraid you were going to go over the top. And, I mean, you could creep guys into the box, but you couldn't do it all the time. So, the Titans must become more diversified overall to help him.
Mike, great stuff, man. Visit just flew by. We appreciate you taking the time today.
I'm done?
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucas going to be in our ears.
We got one more if you want one more.
Nah, you got to wrap up.
We got to get out on the break.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Always great catching up
Okay.
with you. Hey, follow Mike on Instagram,
Appreciate
and
it,
you can win giveaways at 10 Voice. Right? That's where the magic happens.
TENN, like Tennessee, the TENN voice.
Yes, sir. He's going through his
Thank you
vault. He's going through his vault. I'm
going to give it all away. I'm excited. I'm going to give it all away.
Yeah.
His wife said, "Get this out of the house." So
well, that's it.
I'm going to start digging.
So the great Titans fans wins because my wife doesn't like a cluttered house.
Amen.
There you have it.
All right, we got a cluttered break coming up. It'll be uncluttered, actually. Then we'll come up and we'll wrap things up. There's some NBA news, and tonight is the draft.
Yeah.
And a couple local guys looking to get their name called. And Daryl in the Barrel wants to talk about D-Hop before
and
we
a
go.
question
for
everyone. Henry, the King, Eddie, CJ2K. Who would you pick in their prime?
Woo! What you got? Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Lots of housekeeping to do as we wrap things up. We just put a question up. By the way, follow us on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Follow us on Insta at Blaine and Mickey. It's easy to remember our name in both places. Who you rolling with in his Titans prime? You only get one, Eddie, CJ2K, or King. We can discuss that tomorrow. But really want to see you pile up your answers here on this poll at Blaine
That
and
is
Mickey.
going to be a tough one, man. I'm conflicted. I keep talking myself into another one.
It's tough. I didn't even put Earl Campbell on there. We just stuck with Titans because Earl Campbell would make it even harder for people if you were old enough to have seen Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
So we just went with Titans. So, Oiler fans don't get mad at us. Just went with Titans just for fun. We haven't done today in D-Hop news. Today in D-Hop news, Daryl wanted to talk about him. Then we'll talk this NBA stuff before we go. But Daryl on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline today in D-Hop, since there's no news, can be Daryl's call. What's up, Daryl?
Hey, what's up, y'all? To answer your Twitter question, I would definitely take. I mean, I hate to say it, Eddie. I'd have to take Eddie George because he took us to the Super Bowl. Nothing against the Kings, but he took us further. But I do love the King. But thank y'all for having me on. I'm a big fan. So I'm not able to listen every day. So you may have answered these type of questions. But my questions are, what is the difference between bringing on D-Hop versus Julio? Obviously, we want him. But from a production standpoint, what are we looking to get, especially if he wants the money and we may not have it, ? And also, if we sign him, what are the contracts looking like for our other guys, especially for Tanny and Landry and the King and all those guys. So, but I'll hang up and listen.
Daryl, thanks for the call, man. We're big fans
I think
of
that's
yours, too.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's the hang-up. That's why he hasn't been signed, is because they really don't have the type of money he's looking for. I think they're two different players when we're talking about Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins' game, you can give it a title of maybe not as, spectacular as Julio Jones, who had injuries coming in with the hammy when, your body, you get 32, 33. And, hammy starts saying, hey, hold up. And his game was built on all of his athleticism, his speed, his size, and everything like that. Hopkins' game translates still today, even when he starts losing speed. You can't really notice it because his game was never that. Mm-hmm. He's a possession receiver, combat catcher, great hands. I brought up Larry Fitzgerald. That's why they can play so long. Chris Carter. It's about route precision. So it's not as spectacular, except when you see him go up, catch some touchdowns because he's so long and lengthy and athletic. But I think their games are totally different. Julio Jones was an explosive, catch the ball and you go, whoa, wow. I don't think you're going to feel that way with Hopkins. I think he's more of a chain mover type. And I really believe he's trying to, get as much money as he can, and it's not quite there where he wants it to be from either side, at least from the Titans and New England that he's visited. I'm assuming, which is tough, that they made some form of an offer, even if it was just a conversation. So we shall see where it goes. But I think he can help a little different. I didn't want Julio Jones, let's to be clear. But D-Hop, I'm definitely open to with the right price. And for me, I said I'd start at 7. I'm not going over 10. It's just, I can't do it. Because I don't know how much that translates into wins. You may look better. You may be more of a threat, but is that going to get you more wins? And I think it'll equate to maybe 1 more win, maybe 2, maybe. But that can be the 2 that you need to get into the playoffs. Or 1 game to get into the playoffs. So we shall see. But for the right price, 10 and under for me. I can't go. And that's with incentives. Can't do it. He's not that game changer like you would think at this point in time anyway. But once somebody gets injured, though, the emergency would change.
Yep.
For everybody involved.
And the other question he asked about what happens to their contracts, well, nothing happens to anybody's contracts unless the Titans change them.
Yeah.
So Tannehill and Derek are both in their last year of their contract. Now, he mentioned Harold Landry. You could restructure some of his money if you wanted to pay DeAndre Hopkins 7 or 8 or 9 or 10.
Make some space.
Because they don't have the space now. They'd have to play with somebody's contract to get
What they got? What, $8 million cap space or somewhere?
$8
thereabout?
million is what Spot Track
And they still have to
says.
sign Levis?
Still have to sign Will Levis. Yep.
Okay.
So it won't be a huge number this year, but it will be a number that certainly takes a chunk out of that 8. All right, on the way out, because Luke is going to start playing this Eagles music here in a minute. NBA draft tonight. Belmont's Ben Shepherd should hear his name called. I saw
so.
one estimate somewhere between 14 and 40.
Yeah. That's into the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But the local kid there, Mr. Miller, he's going.
Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
I've seen one mock said 2, one that said 3. So he's probably not going to slip out of past 3.
Yeah, tough sledding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2 or 3.
Guaranteed money. Fingers crossed, both these guys go in the first round.
Dang. Wow.
And then Woj dropping the Woj bomb right as we finish up here. The Washington Wizards are finalizing a deal to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for a package that includes Jordan Poole and future draft assets. Chris Paul to the Warriors, Blaine.
And Poole's going where?
The Washington Wizards.
Oh, wow. Dang, CB3 trying to hang on, get that ring. I think time has run out. Sorry, CB3.
And our time has run out.
But though in the meantime,
in between time, peace.